right, sounds good. Hello, people. We're here with Mr. Robbie himself. Introduce yourself, man. What you got going on?
I'm Robbie Lyle. I am probably well known for doing AFTV, which is Arsenal Fan TV. I've got another channel called DR Sports. Probably across all of our platforms, I've probably got over 5 million followers, on YouTube and all various different platforms. And we talk about football, but everything that we do is approached from a fan's point of view. So, we speak to fans. Everything we do centers on a football fan. And that's what sort of separates us away from a lot of other platforms.
No, that's fair. How's your experience been within growing that platform and being in a space where you're around a lot of other people who are building community as well, within football, within tech, and bringing people together?
Yeah, listen, when we first sort of started the channels, it was a real challenge because we were the first people to do this. We were breaking into an industry that's been done in a traditional way for a very long time, which is TV companies that have rights for football. And we sort of came along as disruptors with big feet and kicked down the door and said, yo, we're here, bro.
Yeah.
And when you do that, at first you meet a lot of resistance, because a lot of the sort of traditional, TV companies and media companies, newspapers and that are like, well, who are these guys? And, but we didn't care. I've always had an attitude that listen, I don't care. We're here to stay. We're here to give ordinary football fans a chance to have their say, which, I believed at that time a lot of other platforms didn't do. And we've been able to do some groundbreaking stuff. It's over 10 years now that I've been doing AFTV, for instance. And I think we've really changed a lot of things. There's a lot of things that back in the day we used to get criticised for that I see every single TV channel and everybody copying now. So, but I don't take that as I take that as a compliment. But yeah, at first it was challenging because, as I said, you get a lot of people. Even industry people saying, well, who are these guys and what are you doing? And, maybe looking down and ridiculing what you're doing. But football's changed so much. And, I think sometimes football can be slow to change.
Very slow to change, it's true.
And when I say that, changes are happening all around them, but they're still looking to probably do things in the way they've always done it the last 20, 30 years ago, which you just can't do. We're living in an age of technology where things change sometimes every day.
Literally.
So you've got to adapt with all the changes.
That's very true.
So I guess I have a question just going off of that. What has been the most affirming moment thus far in your career? Is there a moment that you point to or that you think to often where you're like, okay, in this journey, this has been something that I can think back on and just feel proud in everything that we've been able to do?
Do you know what? And this is the honest truth. There's been so many.
Right, of course.
There's been so many. I can't pinpoint one because there's been... We've had moments where we've done, for instance, viral videos that have got millions of views that have, literally led all the news stories. Yep. Those have been great moments. We've had moments, personal moments, like my favourite footballer of all time is Thierry Henry, and meeting him for the first time and him actually knowing me before that blew me away. Travelling to, around the world, to whether it be America, whether it be Africa, Australia, wherever you name it, I've been there through this, which I wasn't expecting when I first started it. I was just wanting to speak to Arsenal fans outside, grounds in the UK, and and then you're traveling the world, and then you're going to various places around the world, and everybody knows who you are. And I've turned up. I remember one time I went to China. There were people waiting at the airport, and I'm like, this is crazy. So there's so many affirming moments. But I think the biggest affirming moment for me for doing content which is based on fans is to have so much recognition from fans. When fans come up to you and say, yes, I really appreciate what you're doing, really, you really, we listen to your content and we enjoy your content. That's always the best moment for me, So yeah, I mean, there's been so many. When
imagine.
you start from zero, right, and you're on the rise and you're on your journey, literally every moment is an affirming
Amazing.
moment.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I
course.
mean?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That's really how
Absolutely.
it should be. And even talking about how football is a community thing, which is taking all of us around the world.
Yes.
You know, we're here at Soccerex. We're in Miami, Florida. How's your time in Miami, and how have you seen Miami become a hub of football in a sense? You know, a lot of big things within the past year from Messi. You know, the first MLS Ballon d'Or winners over here now. How do you enjoy Miami?
Yeah, no, first of all, I've enjoyed Miami a lot. I came to Miami a very long time ago, and I've forgotten. Coming back here is like reminding me how nice the place is.
True.
And I'm like, why have I taken so long to come back to Miami? You know what I mean? So Miami's been amazing, and I'm hoping to come back very, very soon.
Yeah.
And Soccerex has been amazing. But also, yeah, I think Miami's really on the map now when it comes to football because of the Messi thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I remember when I was over in America in the summer because Arsenal was over here on tour.
Okay.
And I was in, we did like Washington, New York, LA.
Okay.
And I was trying to get a Messi
Yeah,
shirt
jersey,
for
yeah.
my son.
Right.
Okay.
And in every city I went to, they were like, I'd say to them, yeah, you got the Messi shirt. I'd go to a shop, you got the Messi shirt. And they just look at me and shake their head as if to say, yo, you mad? That's gone, bro. You can't get that anywhere.
definitely.
So that alone, you know what I mean? You see the effects that
It's true.
him coming over here, you know, I mean, it's put into Miami on the map. I mean, already, I guess in the UK, a lot of times we're already speaking a lot about Inter Miami because of Beckham. So, you
fair,
know,
fair.
Beckham's got, obviously, he's part of the ownership of the team. So we already were very familiar with Inter Miami, but I think the fact that Messi's come, that's just really put it on the map. And, you know, I think it's incredible because, you know, places like Miami, especially with big Latino communities who love their football already, you know, I've seen it in LA as well, that, you know, football's massive over here. As a person who comes to America a lot, I see how big football is here.
Yeah.
You know?
It's been growing, and honestly, with the 2026 World Cup coming here,
So
that's going to be a very, very big moment. Did you have a question?
I do. In terms of what you said earlier about fans, I guess for the football world and the football world that is changing, as someone that has always been at the forefront of fan-led culture, right now in this moment, I guess, what advice would you have, or what, I guess, insight would you have to give for all those people that are then going to see this clip, people who are a part of the media, who are a part of the sort of the executive world of football, in regards to how fans should be viewed in the football space?
Well, listen, I always say to any media outlet, anybody's got anything to do with football, like a football club, anybody in the media, remember how important fans are. I look at football and I say the most important components of football are the two things. First of all, the players, because without players, you know, you got no game, have you? So the players that we go to watch, and you know, like your Messis and your Thierry Henrys and your Sakas at Arsenal, and that we enjoy watching all the time. That's the number one. Second most important component for me is the fans, because again, without fans, there's no football, and we saw it during COVID. When COVID was on and they were playing games behind closed doors,
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
it weren't the same game. You know what I mean? You every single player said it weren't the same. They even had to be doing things like trying to pump through artificial noise of fans, and you know what I mean, the grounds were empty and players were scoring goals and they were like, it's not the same. So the game is not the same without fans. Everybody saw it during COVID. So respect the fans.
It's true.
Treat them with the importance that they deserve, which is fans should be respected. You know, if you're going to make decisions like when they were trying to do the Super League in Europe, you've got to consult with fans first. You can't just go behind their back because you're looking to make a load of money and not consult with those fans, right? When fans are coming to a football ground, try and make the experience for them as good as possible. Try and make it as enjoyable as possible for those fans, right? Football clubs, engage with your fans. Don't just get in contact with them when you're trying to sell a shirt. Speak to because these are people that follow your club, you know, week in, week out, year in, year out, and it doesn't matter, you know, whether your club's doing well or your club's doing badly, they're still there in the bad times as well.
Facts.
Right?
Yep.
So engage with them. Let them have their opinions.
Yeah.
Respect their opinions. You know what I mean? It's far too many clubs that try to, you know, they claim to engage with fans, but they only engage with it when it suits them.
Right.
And in the age that we're living in, with this social media age, where people can talk, you know, and they don't need to go through no news outlet no more. They can talk on their own platforms.
Yeah.
They will voice their displeasure. So, and just the same way they will voice their pleasure.
That's true.
So when you engage with fans, truly engage with fans,
Involve
and I think that, you know, there's still clubs that, for instance, that don't. You know, oh yeah, we're all for the fans, and get our new shirt. It's £80 out now. You know what I mean? Fans are not stupid. They see through that. So, you know, that would be my advice right now. You know what I mean? And the evidence is there. As I said, we saw during COVID.
Yeah.
We saw it weren't the same game.
It's true.
Yep.
Weren't the same game at all.
Agreed.
No, that's very true. And even one thing you highlighted is just the fact that technology is a vessel that can be used to involve fans more, and fans also can express themselves and their experience as well.
Well, that's it, because, you know, now you've got all these platforms, you know, where fans can talk about their club and, you know, talk about their experiences and talk about their love of their club. You know, that didn't exist like 15 years ago, you know what I mean? But now you've got so many platforms where people can voice their opinions and talk about it. So, you know, but I always say to, again, with football clubs, and embrace it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. It's not something to be worried about. It's something, you know, you imagine you're a football club based in England.
Yeah.
You can talk to your fans in Africa. You can talk to your fans in America. That used to be a very difficult thing to do.
It's true.
And now you can do that very easily. So embrace it.
It's true. That's what we're here for.
Don't treat it as something to be worried about. You know, embrace it.
Yeah. No, agreed. And making connections is what we're here for at Soccerex. Do you have any questions?
I think the last thing I want to touch on is in terms of how you view the future of football and what you see being, I guess, how this game is going to evolve. A lot of people here are at this event to understand what the next trends will be and what the next things that they should be looking into or putting their focus on should be in regards to football. We've seen technology rise. You've spoken about how fans need to be more valued in the game. But in terms of how football can grow as a more global game, do you see any sort of world where parity becomes more equal, where there becomes more parity, I guess, in terms of football in Africa, football in Asia, and how? Do you have any ideas for how that could work?
Yeah, well, listen, I think definitely football is now a global game.
Of course.
You know, when I first started supporting my team, Arsenal, you know, sometimes people from outside London were viewed as fans from afar.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
okay,
And
so funny.
now, you know what I mean, when I go to a game, you know, wherever it be around the country, there's fans from all over the world there. There's fans from New Zealand, Australia, Africa, you know, China. They're like, and they know their football inside out because they're watching Premier League games every week live. You know what I mean? So the game has turned into a global game. So look at your global audiences. How do you grow those global audiences? How do you engage with those global audiences? And as well as also not forgetting your grassroots, which is your audience that is there in the UK, for instance, if you're Arsenal, who've been the bedrock of your club over the years. How do you marry that as well? You know what I mean? How do you keep young fans? How do you engage them? Because, you know, there's a lot of young fans, for instance, in the UK have been priced out of football because football's so expensive to go to now.
That's an issue over here too.
Yeah, so how do you make it affordable for them so that, you know, because they're the next generation. If you price out a generation, what are you going to do in 10, 15 years' time when another generation have moved on and the generation you want have not been used to going to football week in, week out. They've been used to just watching it on streams and that. And now you want them, just turn around and say no. So it's about looking after your fans once again. It's all about that. And as you said, embracing technology, because, you know, there's so many, like when I first started doing AFTV, it was predominantly, all of our content was on YouTube, but now there's so many other platforms like TikTok, which is huge. and has changed the way in which we make content, because we make content for YouTube, but we've got to make content for TikTok, and we've got to look at those audiences and what they like and how they consume football. So football's consumed by a lot of people in many different ways. You know, some people want it longer form, some people want it shorter form.
That's true.
So, and then, you know, there's so much technology coming in. There's things like the metaverse, which we've been doing some stuff in recently, which could be fascinating how, you know, say if you're a player, you can engage directly with your fans a lot easier by then coming into the metaverse. So, yeah, I mean, I feel it's exciting times, you know what I mean? Because once again, you know, there are a lot of people within the media and within football who look at these things and they worry about it. And I don't look on it like that. I look on it as exciting times because, you know, the football's getting more and more and more out there, more and more accessible. We're watching more and more football from around the world, you know what I mean? So it's exciting. For me, it's exciting.
Very, very exciting. A lot to come. Wise words from Robbie here at Soccerex. Thank you for your time, man, and thank you for sharing with us as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciated. All the best. Thank you.
All right.